Ms. Booker, you say that since you were a young girl, your mother had always told you the man sitting next to me, Mr. Booker, was your father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Then, when you were 13 years old, Mr. Chausse admitted he could be your biological father. Mrs. Chausse, you are Ms. Booker's mother.
Correct, Your Honor.
And you admit you were in an open relationship with your ex-husband, Mr. Booker, while also seeing Mr. Chausse. Though
correct.
you still believe Mr. Booker is your daughter's biological father, you say you can't be 100% sure due to the circumstances surrounding her conception. So, Ms. Booker, let me ask you, explain how you first started to question that Mr. Booker was really your biological father.
I first started noticing at a very young age. I have two older sisters, and they're both very skinny with blonde hair and blue eyes. I look absolutely nothing like them, and this is their biological father, Mr. Booker. Mr. Chausse, I have his eyes, I have his nose, I have his hair, I look just like his sons. We have everything in common, and my whole entire life, I knew I was different. My sisters would even tell me I was adopted all the time.
They would never tell you you were adopted.
Yes, they did, Mom. They told me all the time it was just a joke.
No, they did not tell you you were adopted.
They would tell
Your
me.
Honor, no.
Okay, Mom.
Well, I mean, you know, siblings can be cruel in that way anyway, but still, it probably would get under your skin if inside you already felt different. And there was also physical evidence that backed up their claim. So, Ms. Booker, when your sisters were saying that, how did you feel?
I just knew in my heart that my mother was hiding something from me, and I could never get her to admit it until I finally pulled Mr. Chausse aside, and I said, look at me, just look in my eyes, just tell me the truth, and say I'm not yours. I dare you. And he said, there's a possibility, but your mother's reassured me that it's... And I've always been told that they never even met before I was born.
Your mom told you she never even met Mr. Chausse until after you were born.
Correct, Your Honor.
So she gave you the information that would make you believe there's no possible way he could be your biological father.
Correct.
And yet, as you're growing and maturing and you're looking at this man, you're saying, I look like him.
Exactly, and she claimed it was nature versus nurture. That because he raised me, I was starting to look like him, and as a child, I believed it.
And that's what I still believe to this day, Your Honor.
So at what point were you able to confirm that your mother, in fact, was intimate with Mr. Chausse before you were born?
She was downstairs doing dishes. I remember like it was yesterday. My father was in bed, and I said, Dad, look at me in my eyes and tell me that there's no absolute chance. And he said, there might be a small one, but she has reassured him. And I said, how is there a chance if you guys have never met before I was born? And he said, we did meet, but all we did was have dinner at a hotel.
Wow. And you weren't buying that?
I was 13, I wasn't 5 anymore.
All right, so then what did you say to Mr. Booker?
I called Mr. Booker and I asked him his own opinion. Do you think Mr. Chausse could be my father? And he said, there's a big chance that he could because your mother was seeing both of us at the same time.
And that was the first moment you heard this?
Yes.
And it confirmed your belief and your suspicions?
Yes.
So, Mr. Booker, you were married to Ms. Booker's mother.
Right, Your Honor.
And you were having challenges in the relationship.
At the time, Your Honor, I didn't realize we were having challenges in our relationship. I mean, to me, everything was fine.
How could you not realize we were having challenges in our relationship? You cheated on me.
I didn't cheat on you.
Yes, you did.
No. I never cheated on you.
Yes, you
Yes,
did.
you did, Steve.
No.
How did you end up divorced from Mr. Booker and married to Mr. Chausse?
Mr. Booker suggested a swingers club to try to fix our marriage.
A swingers club to fix the marriage?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Now, I did not want to do this at all. I had to get half drunk, to be honest with you, to walk into this place. But he said, as a last-ditch effort, Eileen, let's try it. I said, okay, I had kids, I didn't want to be divorced. So we tried, and that is how I met my present husband. And he's my soulmate. We've been married together for going on October will be 28 years. And love him to death. Love him to death.
Wow, so Mr. Booker, this, I'm sure, was not in your plan if you're going to the swingers club to save your marriage, and next thing you know, your wife has met someone and married them that
Right.
didn't turn out too well, did it?
What happened, Your Honor, is that we sat down, talked about it together. You know, it was a mutual agreement that we would go to this club.
That's a
And
lie. No.
Mom, you've lied to me since I was a little girl. You told me you never met Dad
I
before
had
I
to
was
be
born.
drunk to walk into that place.
And how do I know?
And
Take my
so
word for
Well,
it.
why'd you go back?
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. Ms. Booker, I want to ask you, your mom, you're upset with her, of course, because you believe she lied and said she never slept with Mr. Chausse until after you were born.
Yes, you're
But what other evidence did you have that would suggest that she's lying about what happened in the swingers club?
My mom gets caught in her lies, and she's a good woman. I love her, but she lies. First, they never met before I was born, and then they did meet, and then they just had dinner. And then dinner at a hotel, I put two and two together. My father confirmed they had sexual relations, and then all of a sudden that became 3 years before I was born. So if that's the case, why did they both get a divorce from their other parties and get together when I was 6 months and he came into my life?
Very good questions. Could not ask them better myself.
Yeah.
Miss Chausse, you hear your daughter. She's piecing
hear her.
together this story because she's gotten so many pieces over the years, but this is important to her.
I understand.
That's why we're here today, Your Honor, to try to figure, to try to tell the
Okay.
truth.
Yes.
And
And I would like for my daughter, not to interrupt you, honey, but I would like for my daughter to finally know the truth.
And I
Okay.
thank you
It's
for
been-
that.
So,
It's been eating her
Miss
up for
Chausse-
27 years.
right.
Yes.
As your daughter was growing up, you know, you told her Mr. Booker was her father.
Correct.
Now, was this because you had two other children with him and you didn't want her to feel like she was different? Or was this because you were trying to save your marriage? What was your reason for not being honest with her?
In what way, Your Honor? I don't understand the question.
In a major way, not telling her that there's a possibility that someone else could be her biological father.
Oh,
That,
that.
yes.
Okay. I didn't want my daughter to grow up feeling out of place, feeling not wanted, like you specified. And to me, she does look like Steve. That's what I see when I look at my daughter.
Not
You
from-
do.
Steve.
You see Mr. Booker when you look at your daughter.
I'm sorry, yes, Mr. Booker. Yes, Your Honor.
When you're pregnant, do you know in your own mind that this could be Mr. Chausse's baby or Mr. Booker's?
No, I don't.
You don't.
No, I don't.
So how is it you only thought Mr. Booker could be her biological father?
Well, we were breaking up at the time, Your Honor.
Were you trying to save the marriage by saying, this is your child as well, I'm pregnant, let's try to work this out? Because the truth is, if you wanted to be with Mr. Chausse anyway and he's your soulmate, then why wouldn't you just say, yes, let's go ahead and get a divorce because I've met my soulmate and I just happen to be having his baby?
My husband and I were on a break at that time.
You find out you're pregnant.
Right.
You know it could be Mr. Booker's or Mr. Chausse.
Right.
But you
Well, the truth-
decide, I'm going to say it's Mr. Booker's and I'm going to raise my daughter believing her entire life that she's Mr. Booker's child and that's the only possibility.
Right.
I need to understand why that decision.
The truth is, if I was afraid if I told my present husband that I was pregnant, that he would leave me.
Okay. And that's all I wanted to know.
Right.
When you say you were scared to tell the truth, that's an honest feeling, emotion that everybody in this room has felt about some situation at some point in time in their lives, right?
Thank you.
And let's really keep it real. You know she felt displaced.
Yes.
Yes, we knew that.
Okay.
But we did not want her to. I did everything in my power. Excuse me.
To lie for 27
okay.
years. No.
I did not lie for 27 years.
Mom, you just admitted that you two were together at the same time for the first time to my knowledge today.
That's true.
Why, when I've asked you a million times like a broken record at home all the time, Mom, look at my face and can you lie to me, Mom? Is that my father?
I am not lying to you.
My father could have been living with me my whole life. And I was always his little girl, Mom, and it could have been that much more special to know that the guy who raised me had such a good life. I don't know why you would want to deny the truth, though.
I'm glad you had a good life. That's what we were trying to give you, was a good life.
So all you had to do was tell the truth on the 1,000 chances I gave you. That's all I asked.
We tried to give you the best life possible.
I had a great childhood, Mom, but then our relationship deteriorated because you lie.
Well, again, that's why we're here, is to try to get everything cleared out.
We understand, Mr. Chausse. That's exactly why we're here. We just want to understand this situation. And look, Ms. Booker, I understand you're hurt. I can see it in your eyes. I feel it coming from across the room, that this has been a lot for you.
It's just going to change a lot, just to know.
Well, I've always accepted her as my daughter. You know, when she was born, she looked just like my other kids. Identical, you know. I've always accepted her as my daughter. I know that she looks a little different now than when she was born, but...
Because you see the difference as well, and you always have.
I see that she's different from her sisters, yes.
Okay.
But as far as I'm concerned, she's still my daughter. I love her, you know.
That's beautiful. And Ms. Booker, your sister Diane, she submitted a video statement, and we'll hear from her now.
Hi, my name is Diane. I'm Susan's oldest sister. I believe my sister's biological father is Steve, my biological father, because that's what my mother has told me for all these years, and I've been the only person to stick up for my mother. And if the results come back that Steve is not her biological father, it would just break my heart. It would just feel like everything I was told my whole life was a lie.
So as we can see, your sister was convinced all these years. She truly believed what your mother told her.
Your Honor, she's especially upset about this because she feels that if I'm biological father, that she only has stepsisters.
We don't use the word step in our family.
It would be a half-sister.
We don't use the word half in our family.
No, our relationship wouldn't change. Her and I are so close. We just have a bond like no other. And that will always be my sister, and that will always be my favorite person in the world.
Right. And that's how I want it to stay, no matter what the results are.
So, Ms. Booker, how will this change your life if it's determined that Mr. Chausse is in fact your biological father?
I've always told my parents that I will get a DNA test one day. My father, Dennis, Mr. Chausse, wishes to be cremated, and I said, no, that's not gonna happen, because if you will not do it while you're alive, I will do it after you're not. That's how this whole thing began. And I told them, if the results come back that he is my father, it will be bittersweet. I'll be happy. It's the guy who raised me. I had a good childhood. But then again, I also told them I would never speak to them again because they had lied my whole entire life. And I don't know if I can get over that. I just don't know.
This is unfortunate because I can see how much this lie has affected you. And whether or not Mr. Chausse is your biological father, what you've found out today is that you have been lied to your entire life. And I know how much it's affected you. We should get the results so that we can put all of your questions and doubts to rest. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. Do you want to watch Paternity Court on TV? Go to paternitycourt.tv to find your local listings. In the case of Booker v. Chausse Booker, pertaining to whether Mr. Chausse or Mr. Booker is the biological father of Susan Booker. It has been determined by this court that Ms. Booker's biological father is Mr. Booker.
I'm sorry, Mom. Mom, I'm sorry for all the things I've said. I'm sorry.
I told you.
I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry, Mom, for everything I said.
It's okay. I love you.
I just didn't know.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
You know.
It's okay.
Oh my God. So why can't I be skinny with blonde hair then?
You're beautiful. Anyway,
Hug him.
tall and brunette, you're still beautiful. Trust me. That's a nice daddy hug.
I can't believe it.
Ms. Brown, you claim the defendant got you pregnant, then used allegations of promiscuity to deny he fathered your 4-year-old son, DeAndre Gray Jr. You have petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove that he is his biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Washington, you claim you need today's DNA results because you were recently ordered to pay support for a child who is another man's junior, and you know you are not the father. Is that correct?
Yes.
So, Ms. Brown, you say you are fed up because Mr. Washington has denied your son for 4 years.
Yes.
Tell the court.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm fed up because my son is 4 years old, and I am a single parent, and I'm raising my son on my own. And I don't have no support at all. Birthdays, Christmas, holidays, wherever. Mr. Washington sees my son and don't even acknowledge the boy. Look how handsome my son is. Everywhere I go, everybody say how handsome he is. And that hurts inside to be a single parent that don't have no support system, no help, no anything. And I'm tired of it. 4 years, I mean, it's terrible, and he needs to be a parent.
4 years, Mr. Washington?
Your Honor, I do not believe DeAndre is my son at all, okay?
You a lie.
And what's really frustrating is having to go to court in Michigan and pay all this money for a kid that I know isn't mine, especially seeing the situation.
So you say you know definitively that DeAndre is not your biological child?
Yes.
You know that?
I know it.
You have no doubt in your mind?
No doubt.
And so how can you be so sure?
Terriana is done a lot. And I'm not the only guy that she's been dealing with. And that's how I know that he's not my son. Your Honor, she's a send-off. Once I found out how
And what is your...
Wait a minute, what's a send-off?
And what are you?
Your Honor, once we started hanging out and I found out how she truly was, that's when I decided I really don't want any dealings with her.
What is a send-off? I have never heard this. Have you heard this, Jerome?
No, never.
Someone who will say, oh, well, we're going to hang out today and this and that, and then get you all ready and you prepared to go hang out and spend time with this person, and then they never show up. It's another term to say a person tell you something and never follows through with what they say they're going to do.
Oh, no follow-through, send-off.
Right, you sent me off, sent me up the river.
But you with other females, so you don't answer the phone.
Oh, so you're saying...
Other females.
Well, let me understand this. You're just talking or whatever,
right.
And you say you began to see these send-off moments happening where you say, okay, let's do this tonight. She agrees. Next thing you know, she'll never show and disappear.
Exactly. And what would happen is, because I live in Illinois, so she would come out there, you know, once she got her little money or whatnot, she'd come out there and, you know, we'd hang out or whatnot. And then that's when I really found out exactly why I was being sent off. See, it wasn't just me she was coming out there to see.
You're a lie.
She was coming
You're
out
a
there to see.
lie. You're
She'll come out there and
You're
party.
lying.
Yana, it got to the point to where when I rolled with her to the gas station, every guy that was there was walking up to the car.
You a lie. They know me. You're a lie. You're a lie. So when have they
while
came.
I'm in the car,
You're lying.
telling her, hey,
You're lying.
Hey, you know, check it out.
Hey, you're
and I'm
lying.
sitting in the car telling
You're
what
lying.
you mean, check it out.
You're lying.
How did I get drunk?
Shut
Who
up.
bought the alcohol?
Me, because you ain't had no money.
Came all the way
Right.
from Michigan
My point.
to buy me.
My
came
point.
all the way.
My
Came all the way from
point.
Michigan to buy me
My
alcohol.
point.
Me and plenty of other
Whatever,
gentlemen.
you.
All
You
right.
ain't had no money when you came out of town.
No,
you
I didn't
always
need money.
broke.
Hold on,
The way
hold
you
on.
You don't
described
never have money.
Let's get some order. Let's get some order. I want to understand this very interesting testimony. I want to understand. So, Mr. Washington, just to be clear and to recap, you started dating Ms. Brown and you said you felt like she was inconsistent sometimes. You didn't understand why until she came to visit you. You were riding with her to a gas station and realized that all the men there knew her and were basically trying to say, hey, what's up with you? And it triggered something where you felt like, oh, this young woman is dating other people or also being intimate with other people as well.
Exactly.
Ms. Brown, I want to give you a chance to respond because those are
Yes.
strong allegations about a young woman. He says you were sending him off. He says that you were with multiple men when you were also with him. When you found out you were pregnant, who did you tell?
I called Mr. Washington when I was in the hospital. And at the time I was in the hospital, he claimed he was at a job, which he never had a job.
So you're at the hospital getting the pregnancy test?
Yes.
They tell you, Ms. Brown, we've determined that you're pregnant.
Yes.
The first thing you do is call Mr. Washington.
Yes.
You say what?
I said, hey, Ryan, I'm pregnant. And he said, what? I said, you heard me, I'm pregnant. He said, Ms. Brown, I ain't got time to talk to you right now. And I said, why not? This is your child. And he said, how do you know that? And I said, because you goofy. I've been having sex with you since September and October. And I said, that was like 2 or 3 times a week with him. And when I conceived and went to the hospital and they told me I was pregnant. Yes, we were. Yes, it was. Stop lying. What was it, a one night stand? No.
And when she
No, it
told me
wasn't.
she was pregnant, she was
No,
not
it
in the
wasn't.
hospital.
I was 6 weeks
She
pregnant
was not
when
in the
I told
hospital.
you. Yes, I was.
This was,
I
when
got
she told me
doctors.
she was pregnant, it was almost too late. And
No,
at
it
that
wasn't.
point, that's
No.
what made me have the doubt. Because I said,
No.
well, the whole
No,
neighborhood
you're lying.
knows you. So how can you be so sure
You're
that
lying.
I'm the one that got you
You're
pregnant?
lying.
So hold on, Mr. Washington.
lying.
I want to understand this assertion. You're saying when she told you she was pregnant, you immediately said you weren't the father because you knew of other men and you said the whole neighborhood knew?
Yes, ma'am.
He's
We had all
lying.
been talking. Everybody knows her in that
Didn't
area.
nobody know I was pregnant but my
Everybody knows
mom
her in
and
that
you.
area.
No.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell.
I could go to a gathering and she would show up, or I would get wind that she showed up, and there it is.
People
We
know
start
me.
talking. I said,
People
"Man,
know
you
me.
know her too? Oh yeah, you know we was doing this and that." Yana,
No,
she
you're
pulled up-
lying.
She
You're
called me and told me.
lying.
Yana,
You're
she called me
lying.
and told me she was on her way to my house. I was staying with my family member at that time, and she says, "Well, we're gonna hang out." When she pulls up. She pulled up with one of my friends driving her car. She's sitting in the backseat of her own
You
car.
lying.
He in the front drinking, and she's sitting in the backseat. I said, "What's going
You're
on
lying.
here?"
You're lying. Now
So
you
you
telling
pulling up
a
with my
whole
friend in the
story.
car at my
You're telling a
house
whole
with him
story.
driving your
I
car,
didn't
but
have
you come to
nobody
see
in
me.
the car. No, I did
I
not
see
have
driving your car.
anybody in the car.
And he had another chick in the front seat
No,
with him. She
he
in the
didn't.
backseat by herself.
No, that's
Okay.
not true,
Own
Your
vehicle.
Honor.
Okay,
That's not true.
so hold on, Ms. Brown.
That was it right there.
Ms. Brown, listen.
No.
Listen. Mr. Washington got a lot of details.
Yeah.
And he's telling the court these stories, what he feels happened. I need you to tell the court what you think happened. And one of the reasons is because I need to understand the timeline with which DeAndre was conceived.
Right.
Now, you submitted a calendar to the court, and this calendar outlines when you believe DeAndre was conceived,
Yeah.
and most importantly, why you believe Mr. Washington is his biological father. So for this calendar, on November 11th, it was confirmed that you were 6 weeks pregnant. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes.
All right, so now we go back, and if you count back, you say in September and October is when you were having sex consistently with Mr. Washington.
Yes.
Count back 6 weeks, window of conception, September, October, you fall right within the time. Further, DeAndre's birthday is July 3rd.
Yes.
So when you count back, all of this makes sense to you.
Yes.
And so you did the math and you said, this is the person I was intimate with consistently for the months of September and October. That's why I believe Mr. Washington is DeAndre's biological father.
Yes.
Mr. Washington, as you look at this calendar that was presented to the court by Ms. Brown, is this a correct assertion of what happened in the dates you were intimate with Miss Brown?
I don't think that's accurate, Your Honor, because during this time, before Miss Brown got pregnant and through her whole pregnancy, Terriana was dating another gentleman. His name is DeAndre, the same name as the kid. DeAndre, the baby, he is a junior. Now, this man, she moved him from my area up there to Michigan with her, and he's been with her from the beginning to the end. And right there, that was certification. This man hit me up, Your Honor. He texted me. We was talking. He said, because I'm tired of the games.
I'm tired of the games too.
Yeah.
This is what he tells me.
So what did this man say?
He says, look, bro, you know, she been playing to both of us, and this has been going on for quite some time now, telling me that this is my baby, then telling you it's yours, and other people. Me and him just happened, Yana, we're from the same area too, this same guy that I'm telling you about now, we're from the same area.
Okay, anyways, at the end of the day, I was dating DeAndre. But at the time that I got pregnant, I know when I conceived that child. And
DeAndre was living in
Hold on. I want to make
Hold
on. I want to make sure I understand this testimony because Ms. Brown, I gave you ample chance to talk. Every time Mr. Washington asserts all of these things against you, I say, Ms. Brown, please respond. And you have never said to me up until this point that you were also dating another man at the time you were seeing Mr. Washington.
Yes, it's a reason.
And now the child is called DeAndre Gray Jr.
Yes.
But you saying Ryan Washington is the father. I ain't never heard such.
Because at the time I was pregnant. At the time I was pregnant, I told Ryan told me to kick rocks, me and my son to kick rocks. He didn't want to have anything to do with me and my son.
Well, you've been with him and he's a junior. Why would I want to have something to do with your junior?
So this is what DeAndre said. He said, I know that's not my child. And I said, okay. He said, don't worry about nothing. I'm going to take care of that baby regardless.
After they broke up.
Mr. Washington remarks to DeAndre was, man, do what you want to do. That's your child. I don't even care. I ain't going to take care of it.
Hold on. Let me be clear of something. You said you told Mr. Washington that he was the father, and Mr. Washington told you to kick rocks. In other words, he didn't believe you and he didn't want to be involved.
Yep, and that's why I
Did you ever tell this other man, Mr. DeAndre Gray Sr., he was DeAndre's biological father?
No, I never told him
lie.
until after I told him.
And when he contacted me, that's what he said.
All right.
And that's what he said. He's tired of playing games.
I did not.
And that's
I did not.
That made my doubt grow.
He contacted you because he said he was trying to take care of your responsibility.
We actually have a, hold on. This court is about getting to the truth, getting the answers for the child.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have a statement from DeAndre Gray Sr. I'd like to read.
Yes.
It says, at first, I thought I was the father because Terriana told me I was.
Yes.
There it is.
I caught a bond I couldn't let go. Plus, a real man take care of a responsibility. The doctors have told me I couldn't have kids for many years. Every female I've been with never had kids by me. And that's a statement from DeAndre Gray Sr.
Yes.
First line is, I thought I was the father because Terriana told me I was. But I just asked you a minute ago, did you ever tell DeAndre Gray Sr. he was the biological father? And you said no.
I mean, yes.
Hold on, I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to get the story straight. No, I'm serious. Take a minute, think about it, then tell me the truth.
Yes,
Me too.
I told him. Because I had no help. I told DeAndre Sr. that he was the father because I had no help.
He ain't the only one.
There we go. Listen, we didn't come all this way to lie.
Yes.
This handsome child is 4 years old, still dealing with a question of paternity over his head. We didn't come here to lie.
No.
So if that's the truth, then say it.
Yes, it is.
The truth is you did tell DeAndre Gray Sr. he was the biological father.
Yes, I did.
And you said it was because what?
Ryan didn't help me. I told another man that he was the father to get help.
And who was at the birth?
DeAndre. And he cut the umbilical cord and named him after him.
And once she said she was pregnant and I knew what they had going on, I figured that was his baby. My little incident 1 or 2 times when we did something compared to him being there before and after, she moved this man down there.
Listen, you know, we get in this courtroom, people want to testify, you know, I was just once or twice here, but this person bookended, he was there before and after. That has nothing to do with biology.
Right.
But it does have to do with the fact that there potentially could be another biological father So DeAndre is 4 now.
Yes.
How long did he believe that DeAndre Sr. was his biological father?
For a while. Ryan seen him
whole
a couple
time?
times, and that was it.
The whole time.
And he didn't want to claim him unless somebody had some money. And then other than that, he was like, that's not my son.
Unless somebody
I had to
had
support
some money,
him to take
I didn't
the
want to
baby.
claim him. Why would I need somebody to have some money?
Because
for
you
me to
never
claim a
had
kid
no
that's
money to
supposed
buy the
be
baby a
that? That don't
Happy
even make
Meal,
no
pull-ups,
sense.
diapers, nothing. You asked me for the money.
Mr. Washington, you've claimed in your earlier testimony you found out you're on child support now.
Yes, ma'am. I am on child support in the state of Michigan, which is also very frustrating because through the midst of this, now I'm tied up in their court system now. So I go down there, Your Honor. When I get down there to Michigan.
What is this evidence? Let me see that first and foremost.
Yeah, this is the child support order. Here, I have another one. This.
Okay. And so, sir, you say you were placed on child support and now you're in the system.
Right, so what happens is, I was living at another residence at the time, and I get some mail. My grandmother calls me and says, you have some mail here. So when I get the mail, it's a letter from the state of Michigan telling me, you need to come down here for a second hearing because you missed the first. But again, I wasn't living at the address that they had on file that they mailed it to. So when I get down there, I'm thinking I'm going for a paternity test once they lay the whole case out. They say, well, if you want to get the paternity test, Mr. Washington, you're going to have to pay for it yourself because you missed your first court date. Now, I explained to them that I wasn't at that residence when they sent that.
No, you're lying.
They still
lying.
said that it
You're
was
lying.
on me to pay for the DNA test. So now, here it is, we're there. The judge is naming off different names that she turned in of who she told was the father.
No, it was just you.
I recognized
No,
a couple of
it
those
was
names, Your
just
Honor,
him.
and one of them just so happened to be my cousin. My
No,
blood
you're
cousin.
lying.
What?
No, you're lying. No.
What?
He's
Now she done
lying.
messed
No,
around with
he's
him,
lying.
and when me and him get together,
No.
now he's telling me the whole story. She done put
He's
the
lying.
baby off on him as
He's
well.
lying. I never slept
So
with
wait
your
a minute.
cousin.
Wait
Never.
a minute.
Never.
Wait a minute.